A warm welcome back to my channel. My name is Donato and welcome to another Commonwealth coffee. I'll try to say it, put my teeth in the right way. But hey, welcome to another Commonwealth coffee, where today I'll be with the country of England. Yes, this is number 3. So I've already spoken with Alan from Australia, Alistair from Scotland, and number 3 will be Chris from Bradford. But before I bring Chris on, because I know he's eager to come on here, I'll just give a quick background of what this is about, and maybe you can join in also. And I'd love to hear from you, whatever England, Commonwealth nation you are. But there's about 54 Commonwealth nations. And I've been reading this book about the 50 coffee challenges. So I've set myself a challenge to meet 50 people minimum. It'd be great to meet all 54 nations, but 50 people from the nations of the Commonwealth, because this coming summer, here in the UK, in fact, not far from Worcester, where I am, but in Birmingham and the West Midlands, there'll be the Commonwealth Games. So I thought, what better way to celebrate the Commonwealth Games and combine my challenge together as one. So 50 Commonwealth coffees. Yeah, I've got my coffee ready. And without further ado, and as I was going to say, without further ado, let's bring on Chris. Hello, Chris. How you doing, mate?
Great, thank you.
We're on. Firstly, Chris, I've got to say a big thank you for taking the time to come on here, and it's great to finally meet you. And we'll talk about, obviously being a Commonwealth coffee, but there is a special skill that you have, which we'll save. Well, we won't tell everybody what this special skill is that you have, but you are going, because I've had some famous people on this podcast. As I mentioned last week, was Alistair Walker, who's the current world record holder for 3,000 meters indoor for over 65 in under 10 minutes. And I know you'll be going for a world record as well at the Yorkshire Marathon, because as it says there, Chris, you are from God's county of Yorkshire in Bradford, England. How are you?
Yeah, I'm great, thanks. Yeah, how are you doing?
I'm great. I mean, I'm buzzing. I'm always buzzing when I have these chats together. I mean, have you got your cuppa there?
I have, yeah, water.
Water, right? Yes. Do you know what? That essentially a coffee is, some of it we like. So it's decaf coffee, that is, yeah, decaf.
Oh, water. Decaf, that's good. Yeah, mine is, yeah. yeah.
But yeah, Chris, we'll talk a bit about yourself, because obviously, I was going to say, tell us about yourself in terms of, what you do, where you come from, what's your background?
Yeah, well, I've been running for about 12 years now, on and off. And yeah, running in the Yorkshire area, and I've done a few races and stuff in the past, but a while back I don't know, I started a new thing which I'd never done before, which not a lot of people do, and it just took over my life really. Became addicted to it and took over from the running. It's like running, but a bit more to it.
I know
so, I've got really into that.
Everyone here.
Yeah,
it's quite a skill, because I've met people who have. I mean, I have a Guinness World Record myself.
I didn't know that.
I know, but it was just taking part in a. I think it was the London Virtual Marathon, the biggest ever marathon. So really, I was just part of a group. So we broke the record based on pure numbers, and I've seen people break world records. In fact. I was out running only the other week with a Guinness World Record holder, Kieran, who's from Worcester, world record holder, but running as a ventilator. Yeah, so having ran London Marathon, I've seen all sorts of people, but you're not dressing in any fancy dress, are you? You're going in regular run gear, yeah?
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
so regular run gear, a world record, so no fancy dress. There's none of this. But you are adding an extra challenge to this. So I think we've teased everyone else. We can talk more about. But in terms of we'll keep them. We'll keep them tease. We'll tease them a little bit longer, Chris. I think, because this skill, because you're just running in regular gear, so you're going for all-out speed. Yeah, it's
all-out speed. Yeah.
Do you have any pedigree in running? Did you used to run when you were at school?
I ran in school, cross country. I used to love it, but I stopped when I was about 12 or 13, and I got back into it in my early 20s, and started running for a club again. And I did do quite serious, like 5,000 meters on the track. And I did do quite a lot of 10Ks and a lot of races for my club. Yeah, so I was quite a serious runner about 10 years ago. But then I sort of, as you do, you just sort of drift out of it in a way. You know,
life.
Yeah,
happens.
that's it. I moved house, and I sort of I did the odd bit of jogging, but I never really got back into it. And I think it's only in the last year or so that my fitness has come back, and I've really got back into it again.
You are proper going for it. So you do have some pedigree there. So when we start talking about the world record times that you're going for and what that added thing is that you do whilst you're running, is that you have come back from some pedigree. So people might suddenly, because sometimes people see where you are and don't take into account where you've come from.
That's true, actually.
And I'm guessing if anyone who's been a good cross-country runner at school, I would say has good pedigree. Would you be? Yeah. Would that be right?
I think you're right. Yeah, I've always, ever since a young age, it's something that I enjoy. I think with any long distance running, you either sort of enjoy it and get into it, or you don't really. And I'm lucky. Yeah, I think you've either got what I call the engine. A lot of it is training, but sometimes you've got to be born with a certain innate kind of ability to actually want to do it and actually take that pain in a way of actually running for long distances. And that I've always had that. For some reason I've always enjoyed that ever since a little kid.
Ever since you were little, I was going to say since you were a little kid. But
that's it. I think all of us runners have that in some way or another. Yeah.
I mean, for myself, I was utterly hopeless at all sports at school.
Oh, really?
When I was at university, I think all the sports clubs refused for me to join because I was just that rubbish. I think I made the substitute bench for one of the university societies, the Catholic Society. So I was good enough to be a substitute. But I would only go on for 5 or 10 minutes, literally when they were like 10-0 up, then they'd let me on.
Right.
So I was that rubbish. But me and a friend, we did join the athletics club because they were a friendly bunch. But I think they liked us being there because me and my friend, we were always last. But not only were we last, but we would do cross-country races where we'd get lapped, not once, but twice. And it would get to the point where we wouldn't finish the distance, so they would take us off the course. But we had such a good time in the socialising. So for me and my friend, it was more of a social thing, and they were always very welcoming. But we were rubbish, and I was rubbish. And I remember taking part in the University of Wales athletics, and there was a couple of events where they were short of people. So one was the triple jump, and another one was the 400-meter hurdles. The triple jump, I never reached the sandpit. So no jumps. No jumps. And the 400 meters, I was in last position by about, I don't know how far, by about 50 meters. So it's 400 meters, but I was about 50 meters behind. But I didn't come in last because at the last hurdle, a guy fell over and didn't get up, and I jumped past him and finished ahead of him. So I didn't technically come last.
Yeah. But,
those are memories. So I was rubbish. So people, and as I say, Chris, people sometimes look at you and think, wow, look at those speeds you're doing at age 60. You were obviously an elite athlete. No. Now, whether if I had coach, I don't know, but do you think, Chris, I mean, coaching, do you have a coach? Do you self-coach?
Yeah, I'm one of those people who tends to self-coach. I mean, it's something I've considered in the past. I think when you're part of a running club, you get a lot of advice from, the other members and stuff like that. And that's almost like having a coach. I was a member of Bingley Harriers.
Bingley Harriers. Oh, the famous Bingley.
Yeah, famous club.
James Ashworth was member of Bingley, wasn't he?
Yeah, I think so. Yeah,
obviously he was one of the top runners back in the 80s.
And I think the Brownlees as well. Alistair and Johnny Brownlee. And,
they're from Bingley as well.
Yeah. Well, so there's a lot of good runners there.
They started as runners, didn't they?
They did. They were fantastic. But Alistair is. Alistair's pretty much at my age in my school year, and he was running in the cross country when I was doing it, and he was really good even then.
Class? Were you at the same
no,
school?
he went to a different school and everything, but he's in the same school year as me, same age.
Okay.
So he'd be in some of the same events and stuff like that. But he was always just, that next level even then.
Well, you can spot these. I do recall chatting to a lovely person on the train who told me that she was in the same class as one of the Brownlee brothers at the same school. And she used to tell me that when they were 12, every lunchtime they'd go out for a run.
Yeah, I think they did, didn't they?
So, it's almost like they were constantly running. So to be at that level, obviously winning Olympic gold medals and so on.
Yeah.
But I noticed that the current triathlete, I've forgotten his name, from London.
Yeah, is it Ben Mee or something? Somebody, I can't remember his
something
name.
like that. I can't remember. I do apologise. Yeah, that's it. But he came in third in the national cross country championships.
Oh wow!
Literally, seconds behind the winner. So to
that
come third, and he's he did he get? I think he had silver Olympic medal in his first Olympics. Amazing run. I mean, the times that they run their 10Ks, we can only dream about, and yet they do that. And you haven't thought of doing triathlon, have you, Chris?
No, I haven't actually. No, the cycling would appeal to me. I do a bit of cycling, but the swimming would be a big no-no for me.
It's the same for everyone.
Yeah,
I mean, I was the same, but I thought whatever. For me, I can't really swim for toffee, but you get the worst bit over. And then it gets better and better. And then you save the best to last, don't you? With the run, where you're overtaking everyone. If you're a good runner, you're just passing everyone.
I'd like that bit.
Quite a booster. But we've been talking here for nearly 12 minutes, Chris.
Wow.
Tell everybody what this skill is. You're going for, and it's a sub 3. But I heard you told me, was it a 2 hour 50, 2 hour 40?
Yeah, 2 hours 50 is the world record, which eventually, hopefully, I'm going for maybe later in the year at Yorkshire Marathon. Yeah.
Okay. Now, having ran Yorkshire, have you ran Yorkshire before?
I haven't run it. I'd be quite interested to know what you think about it, actually. Yeah.
I can give you the brief resume. I finished it. It wasn't my best race by a long shot, but I think in all fairness, I hadn't prepared properly for it because I ran London 2 weeks before. Boom. If you run a marathon, especially at age 60, it has a bit of an impact. I hadn't fully recovered, but as a course, as an event, it's amazing. It's brilliant.
Good.
As with anywhere in England, there's some lumps and bumps on the course. There is a sort of an elongated hill. But it's so well organised there at the York University campus, and that was one of the appeals. That once you're there, yes, there's transportation from the main car park or whatever, but the bus transports you there. So that's all part of the race day experience. But once you're at campus, the actual start is really close there, and it is really well organised. But the route is obviously York Minster, you can't beat that, and the bells would chime in. So if you want a bit of an inspirational oomph, whether you be religious or not, there's something about church bells, Minster bells, cathedral bells, whatever it is. They were all playing.
Was there? Did you see that? Is there like a vicar who stands there and gives you the high five?
Yes. In the name of Nike, Adidas, Asics, and Saucony. Sorry, I was slipping into my character of the Reverend Runner, but that's on my channel here. But yes, there is a vicar or priest. I don't know, but he's at his church, not at York Minster. So he is at a couple of miles down the road, and some of the congregation are there, and they are the loveliest people. Apparently, he's quite an icon for Yorkshire Marathon. He's there every year, and they're there giving out foods, jelly babies, drinks, everything. And it reminded me of another event when I'd done the Midlands Velo bike ride, the 100-miler. And again, there was a vicar and his community were outside their church with a table giving out food. Same at Yorkshire Marathon. But that's whilst it's out in the country, there's a lot of support around because there's transportation that the organisers set up that allows spectators to get at certain sections. And there's parts where there's nobody. Yeah, you're running along country lanes and there's nobody there. But then there's sections where it is deep packed with people, which is quite surprising, where I've run events in central London, there's nobody around most of the course apart from the start and finish, whereas at Yorkshire there's people around the whole course, and a lot of the locals come out. It's well supported, and I think that gives a real impetus to a lot of people. And also the organisers set up a lot of there's music and singing and stuff. So whilst it's not as big as London Marathon or New York City Marathon, it is a great experience. But it's being aware, as you know, if you're an experienced runner, is there are some short, sharp hills on there. So, you know, it's being prepared for those. And, there is a hill at the finish. So, yes, it's a downhill finish, but you got to get up to that hill and then go down it. So, and obviously, because it's at the end of the race, your legs are fatigued. That can be a challenge. But, but yeah, I mean, I loved Yorkshire, and I would recommend it if people are going. There are flatter, faster courses. I think whilst I'm running Manchester this April, I've been told that's flat. Obviously, but some people say it's not totally flat, which again, there is no totally flat races as such. Yeah, but for a world record, if you do it at Yorkshire, that gives you extra kudos because of those hills.
Those hills,
But yeah, so what is this skill that you've learned? Come on, tell us what you're going to be doing. You're going to show. Go.
Yeah.
Show us the skill.
Yeah. So what I do is I do a sport called joggling, which is basically when you juggle whilst running. So that's what I do. Yeah. And
wow.
So you're basically juggling 3 balls from start to finish. If you do drop a ball, you have to start again from where you dropped it from. You don't have to go back to the beginning.
Imagine dropping it at mile 26. Yeah, you got to go back and do another 26.2.
That's it.
Okay.
But So I'm the juggler in the marathon.
So joggling is a professional event.
It is, yeah.
So there is a world record, or as I say, 2 hours 50, which for a lot of people watching this channel, I think would dream, maybe not even dream of running those times. But obviously we need to put in, as I say, you are an experienced runner. You've run marathons before?
Yes, I've run a few marathons before in the past. So I do know the distance quite well. I've actually done Manchester, which you're doing, actually. That was my I did that. That was my first one. I did juggling. And I did that just to see if I could do it. It was like a test, really. So I have done them before.
What year was that?
I did it actually last year. So it was after the pandemic, the first time it came back, because I'd signed up for it before the pandemic. And at that stage, I was just going to do it running. But during the lockdown and everything, I think I lost impetus of training. I didn't go outside to do training or anything, and I lost all my fitness. And when I came back to it, I saw it was going to be, I think it was October last year it was.
That's right,
and I thought to myself, I'm still signed up to it. I may as well do it. But I didn't have any training behind me. And I just thought, is there anything I can do, maybe for charity? I thought about doing it something different, So I thought about playing guitar whilst running or something like that. Or doing it backwards, or all these crazy things. I was coming up with ideas, and then it was my cousin who suggested, why don't you do it juggling? And I didn't even know if it was a thing. I had to put it on Google, juggling whilst running. I thought my cousin had come up with a totally new thing, to be honest. I didn't know that there was guys out there doing it for years. And then there's even a Wikipedia page of it, and I found that. And once I found that and started looking it up, I thought, I'll try and do this for charity juggling and see if I can actually do it. And then it was about 4 months of just solid training every day to try and get myself to the start line, really.
Wow. Yeah. So you've done 4 months of training. That was for last year's Manchester Marathon.
Yeah.
How did you do in that? Did you joggled all the way around? Yeah.
I did it all the way around, which was my thing for charity, and I'm so pleased I managed to do it. And the time-wise, I knew it was going to be a fair bit slower because I was just seeing if I could do it. So I did it in 3 hours 50.
Wow.
which obviously, yeah, I'm trying to go a lot faster now. But I did drop the ball quite a few times. Probably dropped it maybe 20 times. So nowadays, I don't hardly drop it at all nowadays because I've got a lot better. No, I mean, you'll see yourself when you do it. The crowds were just amazing. I got so many good comments. It was genuinely one of the best experiences I've ever done, really. It was hard, but the crowd just made it worthwhile, to be honest. Absolutely amazing.
And is it flat? Is it flat?
Yes.
Apart from Altrincham. Yeah,
I was going to say it's very flat for the first 15 miles. You'll be amazed how flat it is. But then you get into like Altrincham and Sale, and there is quite a steep hill at 15, 16 miles, and then another one about a mile later. And I heard a lot of YouTubers as well that I've seen done videos of it last year. I know that Here We Are Running. Do you know that guy? He has a channel. Yeah, Chris. And he was doing fine, and then he hit that hill at about 16 miles, and it was just really tough. I think Tony, the guy, there's a guy called Tony as well. Who's another YouTuber. He did it, and he found the same thing. Yeah. Basically, it just knocked him for 6, and I found it tough as well. That I was going fine until then, and it just knocks it out of you a bit.
So that's after Altrincham, is it?
Yeah, I think it's just after Altrincham. I can't remember what town. It was either Sale or there's a town beginning with T. I can't remember the name of it. A little town on the outskirts of Manchester. But overall very flat. So I think you should be able to get a very good time on that.
I mean, it's being prepared because, as I mentioned, at Yorkshire, from mile 14 to 16, it's a slow climb. So you've got 2 mile climb.
2 mile climb.
Right. 2 mile climb, and there's not many people till you get to the top. Then there's a lot of people at the top there. But yeah, obviously outside of this, I'm going to have to look up the course thing because I've spectated it twice and recorded it twice there.
Oh, you did, didn't you? Yeah.
Both at Altrincham, at the start, and I get to Altrincham, and then I go back to the finish, and it seems a good point because the tram's going up and down. So maybe there's the option to hop on the tram and then join back on at another point. But no. I think there was someone from EastEnders who'd done that at London Marathon.
Oh God!
Got on the London Underground just because she'd had enough or whatever. But someone had spotted her and her bib number, so it got reported. So I'll have to look at that. So you go around Altrincham, do that bit. So it's a bit of an uphill, and then there's a downhill, and then you're coming out, and then is it a short, sharp one or is it a steep one?
Yeah, they're all the couple of hills that they're all quite short and sharp, to be honest. It's not these long, gradual ones. So you get them out of the way. To me, I didn't mind them because I live in such a hilly area. I go up about 10 hills like that. If I leave my front door and the first mile of my run. So I'm used to that, really. But yeah, it's such a flat course. I was going to do it again, to be honest, but they had quite a quick turnaround. They did it in October, and then obviously it's in April, isn't it, this year? So that was a bit quick for me. I would have done it again, but I wanted something a bit later, just so I could get that training in to give myself the best chance of going to sub 3.
I'll have to get you in London Marathon. That would be the one to do, wouldn't it?
That would be amazing. A friend of mine who does joggling called Ralph, he did the London Marathon last year. And he said it was amazing, absolutely amazing. So that would be the long-term goal, definitely.
Yeah. I think, I mean, your good for age qualifying time would be sub 3, yeah?
Oh, I think so, yeah. Oh, I didn't know you could do that in London.
So, right. Yes, you can. It's interesting. I meet so many people who didn't realise that you can qualify for London. And
I didn't know that.
So it's, there's limited spaces. But and they bring on the fastest ones of each one. I mean, that's how I've got into London each year. I've entered is through my qualifying times, because the lottery is a lottery. I think was it last week they were giving out places, or is it this week? I can't remember.
Oh wow!
I didn't see much on the social media, so I'm guessing maybe there wasn't much news. But I definitely think, Chris, you should definitely get up for maybe next year's. London. So if you put in a good time in Yorkshire, you'll be able to apply we need to check when the entry dates and times are for London, because London this year again is autumn.
Oh yeah. It's autumn again. Right.
Yeah. But then hopefully they'll move to April. So I can tell by the way you were juggling there. Do you want to do it again? Because you were just chatting and juggling.
Yeah, that's it.
So you're multitasking, because
that's it.
We did connect on the old social meds and looking at some of your runs, and you've been putting in some pretty fast runs there, haven't you, Chris? And your training runs is like that, isn't it?
It is. I do every single run. Every single run is juggling with the ball. I get my balls out every single run.
There's no euphemism.
That's it. But that's it. You've got to go all in. You've got to every single run. Whatever the weather, there's no other way of doing it, Donato. You've really got to go for it. It's the only way to get faster. So every single run I'm out there in the wind. It's been terrible with all these winds we've had.
I was going to say. So, did you ever read Viz?
I did, yeah.
Finbar Saunders.
Oh, Finbar Saunders, yeah.
Come along to us.
Yeah.
I was going to say, with the storms, I bet your balls get blown about a lot.
They do. Yeah.
Sorry, we can have so many jokes on it.
They're blowing around all over the place. Yeah.
So many people have been complaining about the wind on their runs. And I'm thinking, you try running and juggling some balls.
Oh, it's a nightmare. It's an absolute nightmare, to be honest. I've had my balls go in the canal. I've had to be fishing them out of the canal, and they sink. You'd think they float, but they sink. I had to get some guy with a fishing net to help me get them out. Absolutely. Oh yeah.
Oh man,
it's crazy.
That's so much fun, Chris. This is wait.
Yeah. But yeah.
Oh man, I do feel for you, Chris. I mean,
so I'm hoping now. Fingers crossed, we're over the worst of the weather now.
I was at
could do with some nicer weather.
There was no wind. I mean, we've had floods here. You couldn't go running in the flooded areas, but
oh god,
it's, like yourself. I go running along the canals. I dread to think if I had to juggle and my balls get blown in the canal, I wouldn't get very far at all.
That's it.
Wow. It's and obviously knowing the times as I compose myself, I've never cried with laughter in quite a while. But hopefully people who are watching this might leave some comments. I might be enjoying this in some way. Dear. But I've heard, some of these Guinness World Record holders in the costumes do have issues and challenges, like the running viola. He had all sorts of issues with, running in a big costume dressed as a big viola, which is basically like a double bass cello, in between. It's a viola anyway, but huge, big mass going up. God. Wind blowing him around. And there was Kieran dressed as the ventilator. He had a lot of issues with the wind blowing him about as well. But obviously for you, a bit of wind and your balls are gone.
That's it. And also another thing, Donato, is the dogs. Dogs is another thing.
They want to jump at your balls.
Yeah. If you're going along like this, as soon as you see a dog, they're running up to you, trying to jump up and get your balls. And it's a nightmare, to be honest. I've had dogs running off my balls on a few occasions. All kinds of things you wouldn't believe what us jugglers have to put up with.
I tell you, Chris, I do feel for you because I've had many a dog come jumping up at me, but not at me balls, thankfully. Jump at me throat and face and all sorts. And but they'd be wanting. Oh, come on in! They want to play, and they're
that's it.
I think with dog owners, when the dog's jumping at you, the owners always say, "Oh, he only wants to play." Well, I don't want to play.
Yeah, that's it. He only wants to play.
I don't want to play.
No.
I quite like my throat. I don't want it biting my throat or anything like that. But So, what other challenges do you have whilst out training?
Yeah. The thing you've got to think about is looking where you're going, because obviously when I'm juggling, I'm not even looking at the balls. I'm looking straight ahead, or I'm looking side to side, or I'm looking down at the ground basically at all times. So I'm never looking at the actual balls. So you're always looking where you're going. That's probably the hardest thing to get your head around. So basically, you're just relying on your muscle memory of catching the balls. You could almost do it blindfolded when you get to a certain point. So the thing you don't want is any uneven ground or puddles or anything like that. Any slippery ground, that's a no-no for juggling. That's why I tend to, if I can, I tend to go on the nice smooth tarmac paths or pavements. And then you've also got to think about the rain. Once you get a bit of rain, it makes the balls go a bit heavier. Do you know what I mean? And it also makes them a bit slippery. That's a nightmare as well. You can still do it in rain, but it's trickier. And also the cold. Anything less than 5 degrees, your hands are basically numb at the start of the run. So you've got to warm up your hands. All things like that, to be honest. But
so do you run
touch
with gloves?
wood. I do it in gloves in the winter. But touch wood, I've never had an accident where I've fallen over or collided with anyone or anything like that. I'm always safety first. You know what I mean? I'm 100% safe at all times. If I see, someone with a pram coming towards me, I always stop juggling and just go to the side. I'm always, I'm all about safety, and I've never had any issues, to be honest.
Being mindful of other people around you.
That's it. That's the main thing. Always looking. When you're running, sometimes you can switch off and go onto autopilot. But when you're juggling as well, you can never switch off. You've got to be 100% all the time, looking who's that, where's the next person coming from, as well as juggling. So it's definitely multitasking, Donato, definitely.
I can tell that you've got the skill there. So are those little beanbag balls, are they type?
They are, they're just a little beanbags.
Because I can hear the sound, so they're not foam.
No, that's it. Foam. So some juggling balls can be made of a hard rubber. Some can be foam. I like these because they've got a bit of weight to them. With the wind can often take the balls quite, these weigh about 120 grams. So that's heavy enough so they don't get blown in the wind. But you don't want them too heavy, because if you're running 26 miles, you're throwing the ball probably 30 or 40,000 times. So it does take it out of your arms. So they've got to be quite light, but not too light, if you know what I mean.
So do GWR, the Guinness World Records, have rules on the weight of the ball and the size of the ball?
Well, that's interesting. They only specify free objects. So it could literally be free, rolling pins. It could be free, anything, free apples, anything you want. It only specifies free objects. And the only rule they have is that you must be juggling every step of the way. So if you do drop it, which I expect to drop the ball maybe 3 or 4 times in my next marathon, you have to literally just stop, go back to where you dropped it from and start again. They're very strict on that, very strict.
Are you going for, because there will be a Guinness World Record for half marathon distance as well, I'm guessing? Because
there is.
Understanding, because when I've done an event for cancer research, I borrowed one of their outfits called Kick Cancer Into Touch, which was a shoe. So I ran dressed as a shoe.
Is there a video of that? I'd love to see that.
Yeah, there is a video of that. It's the Vitality 10K in London.
Right.
And to add to the fun, I was running with not this one. This is just for the mobile phone, but I had a huge selfie stick with my GoPro. So I'm running dressed as a shoe with the GoPro. Yeah, you can watch it on the tubes. But when I checked about world records, they said only from half marathon up. They don't do any of these Guinness World Records in fancy dress or outfits and stuff for 10K. So there is half marathon. Have you checked that? Are you going to be doing a warm-up race?
Well, there's official world records for 5K, 10K, half marathon, all the way up.
Okay.
Yeah, and the guy who actually holds those records, he is a very, very fast guy. He holds 5K, 10K, and half marathon. He's a French-Canadian guy. He's called Michael Lucien Bergeron, and he's just an amazing athlete, to be honest. So one day, if I can beat if I can get faster, I might go after those records, but I've got a long way to go before I can beat them. I mean, the 5K is 16:50, 16:50.
16:50 whilst juggling.
That's it. That's how quick it is. And the half marathon is 1 hour 17. So that's a bit beyond me at the moment. I'm getting there. Wow. I would love to race against that guy one day. I'd love to go to Canada and race against that guy. He's a hero of mine. He really is. He's an amazing guy. He's an inspiration to me, to be honest. And I'd love to race against him.
Wow. What was his name again?
Michael Lucien Bergeron.
Lucien Bergeron. We'll have to look him up. But have you ever ran a 1 hour 17 half marathon?
I haven't myself. I mean, even just running. To be fair, I've never run one whilst I've considered myself in shape, but I've only run in the 120s. I've never run quicker than anything like that. Yeah, so,
my guessing is that this French guy runs super fast in the first place.
That's it. He's a very, very, very good athlete. He must be having some very quick times. I mean, the guy who holds the record for another Canadian who holds the record for the marathon. The Canadians seem to be very big into juggling. Yeah, it must be something in the water over there, I think. But he is his PB for marathon just running is 2 hours 30. So he's a very, very good runner. Wow. And obviously the world record for juggling is 20 minutes slower, 2 hours 50. So that shows you it is slower when you are juggling. You lose about 5 to 20% of your overall speed, depending on how good your technique is. And your heart rate is faster by about 8 beats per minute faster, I find.
As well.
So it is, if I was to run an 8-minute mile just running, my heart rate might be at 120, 128 or something. But if I was to do it juggling, it'd probably be up in the 130s.
And why do you
straight
think
away.
That is, Chris?
I think it's because when you're running, obviously your arms are like doing that. Don't know if you can see like that. Yeah. Whereas when you're juggling, they're doing that slightly different. But it's just the effort of of throwing and catching. I think that combined with the running and the fact that your legs aren't really getting any help from your arms. When you're running normally, you don't realize just how much your arms contribute. If you try running with your arms held behind your back, you'll notice straight away it's a totally different thing, and your heart rate's a lot faster. So juggling, in a way, your arms are not giving your legs that much support. So everything I do is technique-wise. I try and make my arms to propel myself forward as I'm throwing. It's very hard, but that's what I try and do. Basically, that's the only way I can get faster.
So you're basically looking to do a PB in a marathon whilst juggling at the same time. So you haven't run a 2 hour 30 marathon.
No, I'm coming to it purely from juggling. Yeah, every run I do is juggling. If I do get a sub 3, it'll be my P. I've never run sub 3 before, so I'm just purely going for for the juggling. Yeah.
What is your personal best to date on a marathon?
My PB it was a few years. I think it was like 3:20. So it's not even anywhere near. But I have got a lot faster times in like 5K, 10K, and stuff like that. So I know I can run sub 3. But it's whether I can do it juggling, basically.
It's just building the endurance, isn't it?
Yeah. That's it.
The heart rate is going up as well because your brain is multitasking. You might obviously when you're doing it there, you can start again whilst we're talking, and you'll be juggling. Yeah. People think, oh, you're not even thinking about it. But
that's it. Yeah.
The brain, you've built it into your subconscious, so the brain is thinking. So that makes the heart pound a bit more, because there's a lot of elite athletes I've spoken with where they literally the training is to try and get their brain to switch off where they're in automatic mode, because if they're thinking too much of strategies and paces, that elevates the heart rate. And as you know, with endurance, as soon as the heart rate starts elevating and you start getting lactate building up and then there's fatigue coming in, that's not the end, but you can try and recover it. But often once it gets up there, it's difficult to bring it back down. So it's
hard to bring it down.
The idea is to try and keep it low, and which is why you're practicing. I mean, I've got nothing but great admiration for you, Chris, and the way you're just sort of chatting and juggling there. You've come to this. You're not an elite athlete type thing, so you're going for a record, not from a non-elite. So it's not as if you were super fast. and also you've started juggling as a beginner. You weren't juggling when you were a kid or anything, so you've been learning juggling now for how long? So I know you've been running, so you've been juggling, but you started juggling first before you were joggling.
That's it. So I started juggling. I did learn when I was a teenager. I think juggling is a thing like riding the bike. Once you actually know how to do it, you never really forget it.
You don't forget it.
So I did know how to juggle when I was about 16, 17. But again, I hadn't done it for like 12, 13 years really. And so the first thing I did when I decided to do it was I just had to start juggling again, just for like 5 minutes, then 10 minutes, then 15 minutes, just trying to get my arms stronger. And then I started trying to do it whilst walking. That was hard enough. That was a nightmare at first. And then, And then I started going really slowly, and it was just a long, gradual process, really. Every single day had to be done every day for like an hour or two a day, basically.
Wow.
It was crazy.
So, when I do see those training runs on Strava, on social media, it's quite incredibly fast how you're running. Because obviously I'm running for around a 3-hour time, so I know I'm going fast, and you're going faster than me, because obviously you're going to go faster than me at Yorkshire. So it's all looking good, and
that's it. I mean, I've got the Edinburgh. Obviously, you're doing Manchester in April, aren't you?
Yeah.
And then so I've got Edinburgh in late May. That's the one where I'm going to try and go sub-3, and then after that, Yorkshire Marathon in October. Yeah.
Wow, I didn't know you've got Edinburgh as well as a warm-up.
Yeah, I'm going to have that as my warm-up, just to test out different strategies.
Okay.
Fueling is quite a big thing, because obviously when you're running, you just take the gel and the water as you're running, whereas unfortunately we have to stop. It's like in Formula 1 when you have a pit stop.
Yes.
They have to stop, swig down water. Yeah, that's it. Swig down as much water as you can, quick gel, and you're on your, making sure you take no longer than about 20 seconds per stop, because that time you can't get that time back. The clock doesn't stop. You have to keep going. So if I'm going to run sub-3, really I have to try and attempt to run like a 2:56 just to get sub-3, because I'll be stopping for about 2 minutes altogether. So it is hard.
What strategies do you have for your stops? Is it every 5K, every 10K? Because I've heard stories, and one of the first stories I was told when I took up marathon is when you get a gel, not to shovel the whole thing down in like a second, because that big lump physically going down it might come straight back up. So the idea is you're supposed to slowly take it on. What's your strategy on that?
Unfortunately for me, I do have to. I have to just have them as quickly as possible.
So you take the whole gel all at once. Yeah.
I'll
so
basically
half a gel at 5K and then the other half at 10K.
Yeah, I'll have my first gel at about 10 miles.
Yeah.
I try not to have as many gels as some runners do. I know some runners have them every few miles. I try and only have about 3 during the race. One at about 10, one at about 15, and one at about 20.
To be honest, Chris, I'm a 3 gel man as well.
Oh,
so,
only the best people have 3 gels.
I think I might boost it up to 4, but I ran Yorkshire with 3. I think I ran London with 3. Admittedly, I was running at a slower pace at London because I was saving myself for Yorkshire. But it's again horses for courses. But it's amazing how you described like a Formula 1 pit stop. So you have to stop. You have to put your balls down.
That's it. Drinking. Yeah. And it's annoying, Donato, because what happens is you're running with a group. Say you're running with the 3-hour pacers. Then you have to stop, and they go off. They're continuing up the road, so you have to catch them up again, and then you have to stop again. You have to keep playing catch up with them. So it's a nightmare, to be honest. I need to invent some kind of hat, which you can be drinking water out of it or something like that.
Well, I could give you a story. When I ran London a couple of years back, the hot one, 2018, and as I mentioned, there's a lot of
I think I've seen your video on that really hot day.
Yeah. And I was running with a guy going for the Guinness World Record dressed in a straitjacket.
Oh, the straitjacket guy I saw. He's still out there to this day.
Oh, no, he finished ahead of me, the cheeky bugger.
Did he?
But
Oh.
he's in a straitjacket, so he can't feed or drink. He can't feed himself, can't drink. So he was shouting, "I need water! I need." So for about 5 miles, I ran with him, and was just water over his head.
Wow.
And it kept him going. So he was dependent on people like me along the course, giving him the food. I think sometimes he did have gels in his suit, so people would pull that out and give him a gel. But yeah, he finished under 4 hours.
Wow.
I think he missed the world record by about 5 minutes. But it was 25 degrees, and he's in a straitjacket. And I mean, I understand what you mean about getting left behind, because I tend to stop anyway at fuel stations.
Oh, yeah.
You can expend energy trying to catch up again. So I'd love to hear how your strategy works at Edinburgh. And like you say, is there a way of getting a hat? There is, but again, I'm just thinking on the fly here, there's jackets you can buy, the hydration packs.
Yeah.
You can buy a backpack. I mean, I've got one for when, because someone said I was supposed to drink when I go on long training runs, but I don't. But anyway, I won't go into that. But so I've got this backpack, and a lot of people use them for ultras and trail running. But you can fill that with water. But obviously, there's certain, I can't remember the brand, Tailwind, that was it. I used it on a triathlon on my bike. So on the bike, I had bottles of water, but mixed with the Tailwind. So that had the carbohydrate energy. So all I took was that. So what you could do is put on one of these vests, and it's got a drink thing. Yeah.
Yeah.
But I think you have to press it. Yeah. So, but what you can do is literally sip. Yeah. So you can sip it as you go along. That's why I was saying, with gels, shoveling it down. So, I mean, I don't know how you respond if you take. Some people are fine, but when you're running at a certain speed, it could have an issue. But
it's not ideal.
When you mentioned about the hat, the hat is an extra thing. But if you've got this backpack, and they do allow them, at Manchester, Yorkshire, and even London, I've seen people running with water packs on their back. There might be some device where you can literally maybe press it with your teeth and drink it as you're going along. But
that'd be good. Yeah.
With that, you don't have to stop for so long, because you can literally just stop, squirt, and then catch. Because I remember one marathon where it was quite a bad one, and I had to go to the. Thankfully, it was multiple laps, and I had to go to the Portaloos literally every lap. And when you're there, doing what nature calls, you come out, and they're 200 yards, all the way up. So I was trying to catch up, which I did on the first few, but that's expending more energy, which then, later on in the race makes you slower. But who knows, Chris? There's got to be a way. If there's anyone watching, if anyone's got any suggestions for Chris, leave it in the comments below. Have you done things where, there might be someone from the Formula One world who would have thought of that, because these guys, they've worked through and devices and things, and there's got to be something out there where you can keep running without the need of your hands and still take on energy. Because
that's it.
A lot of people swear by Tailwind. I know a lot of the trail runners that they're happy to stop and drink and do the mixes and everything, because Tailwind's a powder. But you can pre-mix it. So if you've got a backpack full of however many litres you need, or I think a litre is probably enough, depending on what the temperature is at Yorkshire. So you just have enough for the race. You don't have to fill it up with all 4 litres or whatever the pack is. And that'll kill 2 birds with 1 stone. It keeps you hydrated with liquid and gives you the carbohydrate energy that you need for the marathon.
Every second counts. So
if it is that way, if it is that crucial, it's only because from experience, I've been in somewhere I would stop, drink, and then they're gone. But sometimes I can carry on running along with the gel and slow down and then take that on, but I can slowly sip it. But with the water, obviously with the beard as well, I tried to grabbing it and it just ends up all over my face. So
dear.
someone said for the sake of 5 or 10 seconds, just stop, drink it, and then put the cup down and then carry on. So,
yeah.
But for yourself, you've got the thing of putting the balls down.
That's it.
And it's little extras, isn't it? So
that's it.
that's a big goal to go for, Chris. And
yeah. But no, there's a good community of jogglers in the UK. So there's quite a few people. When I started, I thought I'd be the only one, but it turns out there's a Facebook group. There's people been doing it in the UK for years.
Wow.
And there's a guy called Scott who does park runs, lots of park runs doing it, and he's got some very quick times in the park runs. And then there's the guy called Tim he's trying to do for charity 100 marathons whilst juggling. I think he's done about 60 so far. So he's an amazing guy. So there's these guys out there, and they've been great to me, giving me advice and stuff. It's a very small community, but there is a few of us.
They're very helpful. I was going to say, it's funny because we mentioned on emails about meeting up at one of the park runs up in Yorkshire, but have you done park runs joggling?
Yes, I've done one so far, which was in fact, it features on, Nicola runs. It features on her last video, I think, her last park run. I was basically running that. I did that in about 19 minutes.
Wow.
That was the first one I'd done. It was good. It was a good experience. I met up with Ralph, who I mentioned earlier, who did the London Marathon. He's from Leeds, and we met up and we were juggling together, which was the first time I've ever joggled with a fellow juggler. It was an amazing experience.
I think we need to set up and get some jogglers together. Maybe if I'm up at Brighouse.
If we could all get together on a park run, there's about 10 of us. There's about 10 or 12 of us. If we could all get together, it'd be amazing, I think.
I mean, if you all wanted to come down here to the Worcester Pitchcroft, because it's a PB course, it's completely flat.
Yeah, because it's a nice black one.
And it's on a footpath, so there's no...
Perfect.
As good as Brighouse is, it's a multi-lap, isn't it? And because is it 3 or 4 laps? And because
I think
it's so multi-lap, you're regularly running at 19 minutes, you will be passing people a couple of times. That can be quite... Whereas at Worcester, even if you're running 16, 17 minutes, you don't, because it's just 2 loop. Or a loop and 3/4. Yeah, 1 3/4. It's only the 16-minute guys might pass you if you're doing in, say, 25 minutes.
Wow.
Or slower. But if you're keeping up at a certain speed, you won't be passing as many people. So maybe head down to the Worcester Pitchcroft.
I know, because I've got some relatives. I've got some relatives in your neck of the woods, actually. So I think next time I'm down there, I'll definitely give it a try.
We'll get you on film, and I'll try and keep up with you whilst you're juggling, because 19 minutes is at my wow. At the moment. I mean, I haven't been to a park run, all out for a while, but whilst I've ran around 18 minutes, 18, 20, I think, 19 minutes is still a push for me, and great sort of running with you. But I was going to say, Chris, it's been an absolute pleasure talking with you.
Been fantastic.
I think we're going to have to get you on again and maybe do a live one, so that people viewing can do some questions and answers, and maybe we can reach out to the joggling community and maybe do a group one, get some other jogglers on and do a live joggle. And
that'd be a great idea.
Have multiple ones, but as the Commonwealth Coffee, cheers to you.
Cheers, and thank you for having me on. It's a privilege to be on Commonwealth Coffee. Yeah, great.
And it's an absolute honour, and here representing England. So next time you see the Brownlee brothers, say hello from me.
I will do.
For those who want to ask questions, leave comments for Chris or wherever, then we can get connected. Leave it in the comments below. I'd love to hear from you. And as I mentioned, if you want to take part in one of these coffees, then please do. And you don't have to be recorded. Chris said he wanted to be recorded, and that's why we're recording it and broadcasting it. But I would have been quite happy just to chat along here, and we could have been laughing about his balls being blown about everywhere in the canal. But Chris, thank you so much for being a great sport. All the very best of your training. Good luck, and no doubt we'll see F2F, I think they call it, face to face soon. So
yeah, and good luck for Manchester, and good luck for the Cambridge half marathon as well.
Yeah, Cambridge half this weekend.
Yeah.
Oh, thanks for reminding me.
Yeah.
You take care, mate. All the very best.
See ya.
Bye.